Everybody good? All right, we'll take questions.
Coach, how do you feel like y'all worked throughout camp, getting ready for game one?
It was a good camp, mostly healthy, which is always a positive, and probably able to pull back a little bit because of the summer work we're able to do this year with the new NCAA rule, and so it was good. Went by fast, it was efficient, and got done what we needed to get done.
What can we expect to see out of the gate from the offense? Are you going to stretch it out right away? Are you going to kind of let Davis get his feet beneath him? And
he's ready to go, so I'm sure he'll come out with an attacking mindset and try to go at it. I know these guys, they've been going against the defense for what seems, I guess, since June, really, with 7-on-7 and team drills they've been doing on their own. So they're ready to see another color jersey, and I'm sure they'll be ready to get after it.
Kliff, at Big 12 Media Day, you said wide receiver, O-line, D-line were 3 units you felt really good about. Have any others joined the short list over a month of fall camp?
I've been proud of the way those young corners have competed. That's a tough deal at that age to come in and be thrown right in the fire, especially going against the guys we have and the way we practice and the way we play and as much as we throw it. But they've stepped up and competed well, so I'm anxious to watch them play. But I'd say that's a group that's been a pleasant surprise.
Coach, speaking of that, looking at the 2 deep, talk about the confidence you have in that, and is it subject to change before game day?
It is. It's always subject to change. I mean, we're practice to practice as far as our 2 deep goes. So we have a bunch of guys that have played a lot of football coming back, but there's some new guys that we're anxious to see when the lights come on, and so we'll figure that out. But yeah, as far as 2 deep, that's day to day for us.
Kliff, on Justin Stockton, how do you envision using him, and how many touches a game do you think he might get?
I'm not sure yet. He's a guy who's really flashed this camp with his speed and what he can do with the football, but we have some other guys in that backfield that can make it happen as well. So we'll see how the game's going and see how he does when the lights come on, but he's had a heck of a camp, and we're going to try to get him the ball a few times early and see how it goes.
Cameron Benson won your punt return job, so just what did you kind of see out of him to kind of give him that job?
Very natural, very poised young man. He's very cerebral in his approach, and he's worked really hard at it. So just been fun to watch him do that. It seems like a natural.
will Pat Mahomes likely get some time?
I hope so. We're gonna, since he's not redshirting, we're gonna play him as much as we can. When we can find times that he can go in the game throughout the year, we're gonna try and maximize that. Because in an ideal world, like I said, you would like to redshirt him, but he's not afforded that luxury. So we'll get him out there, and as much as we can play Pat, we're gonna play him.
I know you passed a lot more last season than maybe you wanted to. What sort of breakdown do you hope to put forward in this first game?
I don't have a number or percentage, but just be more confident in our run game leaving this game. You'd like to be able to hand it off more when you have the box to do so. So hopefully we can get that rolling a little bit.
Back on Patrick for a moment. Is it a situation where you would like playing him in every game or most every game? Or?
I don't think so. I wouldn't say that. I just, when the opportunities arise, we're going to let him go in and run the offense, and we're not going to just have him hand off and run clock at him. We're going to have him execute the offense and get him ready to go.
Same time, you don't put him in games that are more or less decided, or would you throw him out there and let's say he's in 10 points, 2 touchdowns?
Just depends on the circumstance, but Davis is the quarterback, so I think as of right now our plan is if a game is decided one way or the other, then Pat would come in.
What are your couple of goals that you would like to see both sides of the ball achieve? I know that you had concerns about red zone offense, and I know that Matt has had some concerns about red zone defense. Can you talk about those goals?
Yeah, I think more than anything, especially early in the season, we've had a big emphasis, as I've talked about a bunch, on turnovers and penalties. So you'd like to see a clean game, especially at home. No pre-snap penalties, things of that nature, and then protecting the football. I think those are the 2 things this first week that we're really striving towards.
Coach, can you talk about the 2 new linebackers and VJ and Kenny?
Yeah, VJ's a guy that we had come in, transfer from Utah, and has just brought passion to the game. That's the one word to define him. Every day he's yelling, screaming, hopping around. I mean, excited to be out there, and that's contagious to his teammates. And then Kenny's just gotten better and better. He's ended this camp very strong. I think our coaches have more confidence in him than we ever have watching him at that position. So I'm just fired up for both those guys being seniors to watch them play on Saturday.
Coach, could you talk about the offensive line, Dominic Robertson, and the movement there? And do you envision playing him some at left tackle on Saturday?
We'll see how the game goes. Dom's still getting adjusted to the speed of the game, but he's shown some serious flashes that we think if he keeps coming can be a big contributor for us in that line. So we're going to play him as much as we can, whether it be inside or outside. And that's a group. The rest of that group that's going to be starting this first week. It all played last year, and so they've come together and gelled. And Dom's a piece that we hope will be able to push in there here soon.
What's your outlook on J.J. Gaines as a guy who's now like the veteran voice in the secondary?
You know, I know he's excited to be back after that injury. He's come a long way. That rehab was an extensive process, and so you can tell he's appreciating the game more. He's working harder than he ever has. He's studying harder than he ever has, and I think sometimes those injuries are the best thing that can happen to a player, and he's a guy who's really taken his second chance and has run with it.
With Justin Murphy and Robert Castaneda listed in the 2D, do you think that they will play, or would it be a situation where the guy from when it had to go out, you would shuffle the line to get veterans?
I think with the numbers we have, you'd like to redshirt at least one of them, but we'll see how it goes. We're not deep enough to lose many bodies and not have those guys play. So we're going to see how this first game goes early and go from there.
Coach, you have Tevin Madison over at that field corner position. Anything that separated him from the rest of the group, just leading fall camp?
I just, having played in high school, he's got great ball skills, and I think he just picked up the system a little bit quicker. But all those guys are tremendous athletes at that position, and so you'll kind of have a youth movement over there at that one corner and rotate them through, and they know that, and we'll just do it as a group effort.
How close was the competition between Madison and Deshaun Johnson?
It was close. It was close. We feel comfortable with both those guys, and Deshaun was most impressive. He was a safety, his entire high school career, and that's really what he's probably his best position. But with some incidents we had, felt like we needed to move him over there, and he's done a great job.
And Coach, what was the thought process between Madison and Davis? You mentioned Madison a little bit, but over getting that spot over Davis, talk about that a little bit.
Just more comfortable catching the football. With our offense, that's our main point, is securing the football on special teams, because we'll be able to move the football. We just can't turn it over. And we felt like Cam came in and did a great job of being steady.
I realize they have a new staff, but anybody for Central Arkansas on defense kind of catch your eye?
There's a defensive end named Woodard. He flashes on film. Great player for them. And then a safety, number 7, that shows up. But Coach Campbell, he's done a tremendous job at Gulf Coast. I mean, his record speaks for itself. So they'll come in here fired up, expecting to win the game, and our players know that.
Coach, with Dominic Robertson, is it getting him up to speed with the offense, or conditioning, or a little of both?
I'd say a little bit of both. Like I've talked about, our practices are more up-tempo than most in the country. As many plays as we rep and as fast as we go, especially as an offensive lineman. So getting it called, figuring out what you have to do, and then being in shape to play at that pace just takes a little bit of time.
Coach, real quick, talk about game week, the procedure throughout the entire game. Talk about those quick.
Yeah, I mean, as far as just
day, as far as Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, it's a normal game week. I don't know really that it's different than anywhere else in the country. We meet as a staff in the morning, meet with the players in the afternoon and practice, and then do it again the next day.
Coach, has there been any one wide receiver that's really kind of stood out in fall camp that Davis is looking to, or do you view this as a collective group? I
think it'll be more spread out than last year. You had 2 guys that really caught a bunch of passes, and we feel like we have, we lost a lot of production with those 2, but we feel like we have a deeper group, I'd say, as far as speed goes and ability to make plays. So I think it would be more spread out. Jakeem Grant, I keep saying it, but he's been phenomenal in spring and summer, so I expect him to have a great season.
Coach, how much better is the offense just in terms of knowing your system now, more comfortable, not thinking, just playing? Can you see that going into this season?
Yeah, it's night and day. Davis, he'll wave me off on play calls now if he sees stuff. So they're taking control of it as a group, and that's when it gets really fun. Tony will be out for a little bit. We're not sure exactly what his status is right now at this moment, but he won't play in this first week.
What did you hurt?
His knee.
It seemed like last year when Davis would get into trouble, you would look for Jace and, would kind of help him out in some of those situations. Have you noticed over camp that, is Bradley a guy that can help him out in those situations, or is there one guy that he looks to when he really needs a big play?
I think it'll be more spread out, and I think a lot of that, Jace is a phenomenal player, but a lot of it has to do with his second year in the offense, knowing where everybody's at, where last year just find the big guy over the middle, and that's part of being a true freshman. But now he has a better grasp of the offense, has done a much better job of getting us out of bad plays and protecting the football.
Coach, can you talk about the excitement this year? The season tickets sold out, 3,000 tickets left for this Saturday, and the Jones is going to be rocking.
That's been incredible for our program. That type of energy behind it really gives a lot of credibility to us on a national level, that we sell out our program on a season ticket basis, and recruits love that and our players love it, and it's just a credit to this community and how passionate these fans are.
What was Balin's camp like?
Good. We moved Balin around. He's a guy who's going to have to be ready to play center and guard and left guard, right guard, and he's developed a lot. He's another guy. Last year we would have liked to redshirt and weren't able to, and he's made great strides this fall camp.
What do you thought about your two freshman offensive linemen and how they've done, both Robert and Justin both?
Way ahead of schedule. I think they both came in with great attitudes, both tough kids, love to compete, love to play football, and young still. You like to be able to redshirt them if possible, but I have a feeling they'll both be asked to play at some point this year.
Kliff, kind of the same question as with the cornerbacks, talking outside wide receivers. What was the competition, the dynamic like between Palat Bray and Lauderdale?
It was good. It was friendly competition. They both pushed each other. Both of those guys have great speed, and both young, haven't played a lot, but I thought they went at it, and neither one backed down. And so we feel comfortable playing both those guys this year, and I expect them to make some big plays for us.
What was the separation between the two in the end?
Probably just knowing the system better, being here a little bit longer than the other guy. But like I said, we feel comfortable with both guys.
I know you don't want to punt a whole lot, but could you talk about Taylor and his progression to that position and taking that over?
He's been good. He's been good. We just got to get it from the practice field onto the playing field, and he's was sat for a number of years and watched and waited his time, and he seems calm and poised, and so I'm anxious to watch him punt in a live game.
Freshman, barring anything catastrophic, that will for sure redshirt going into week one?
I wouldn't say we have any for sure. I think a lot of these guys are up and ready to go.
What kind of impact did you see during the fall special teams last year, Coach Shipring?
It was huge just to have a face on that phase of the ball where those guys looked at, and he brings a different level of passion, different level of energy to that phase, and the kids bought in, and they've been playing hard and flying around and taking pride, and instead of trying to skip reps on special teams, they're trying to get in and get extra reps, and so that's much different than it was last year.
What's the feedback conversely for Coach Haverty not having his attention now?
He's excited about it. That was a deal that kind of got thrust upon him last year, and he took it on, but he's anxious to focus more on the defense and more on his safeties.
Coach, how about you overall? What's been the difference for you over the last year? Do you feel settled in and a lot more comfortable maybe than a year ago at this time?
I wouldn't say settled in, but I'd say more comfortable, definitely. The first year you're just installing everything and trying to get it installed. In the second year you can figure out where you made mistakes, what you can do better, and change things. And so that's been the biggest thing I've tried to do.
Have you done anything different as far as committing turnovers and not taking so many penalties, things like that? Have you taken a different approach as far as those two things?
We stepped back a little bit and put the onus on the team. Last year we probably backfired because we put so much talk and thought into turnovers and penalties and harped on it, and it didn't help. So we kind of took a step back and put the emphasis on the team to handle it.
Coach, just like any other year, defense is going to be big. Talk about your defense going into this game.
We'll find out what we got. There's a lot of good players returning on that group, having to plug some new bodies in, especially on the D-line, that are going to have to get caught up quick. So I know they're more comfortable in the system. They've been flying around better. There's been a different attitude on that side of the ball in year two, and some good leadership emerged. So I'm excited to watch them play.
Anything else?
Appreciate it.